welcome to the Thursday Freedom Hub show, where from the practical to the cosmic to the etheric, we examine the bigger issues, which are really affecting our freedom, our health, our future, our world. I'm Jim Graypeck. I'm joined by my co-host, Charlie Froman, and we have an interesting show for you today. But let me start with a little housekeeping. If you're new, I'm going to do a screen share and take you to our website, theoretically speaking, which is your-mp.com. Hopefully you guys see that. And if you come over to the Your Media tab and click on there, you will see who we have coming up every week. We post at the beginning of the week the Health, Biz, and Politics show, which is really about health disruptors, some great people working to create a real health system, healthcare. And then Freedom Hub is a much broader approach, topics that they usually ban us on, cancel culture on YouTube and et cetera. So down at the bottom, you will see the channels we are posting on, typically BitChute, Brighteon, YouTube, and Rumble. Again, for the more controversial shows, such as today's, it will not be on YouTube. And, or maybe, I don't know. So with that, Charlie, you can fill in the rest. I'll turn this over to you to introduce things.
Thanks, Jim. And as I put in our alert promo, I think one of the goals of our weekly Freedom Hub show on Thursdays, not the Wednesday show, which is more focused on healthcare disruption, but on this Thursday show, we just had our 400th episode. And over 5 years, every week, we've platformed leaders in all kinds of facets of important areas of humanity. And, conspiracies, controversies, we've had pretty much every major controversy. We like to push the envelope, like I said. And that pisses off some friends. It triggers others. But, we just feel that that's something we should do. On this area of whether the earth is round or flat, we've had other guests over the years on some of these really deep issues. For example, a lot of folks on ancient origins of humanity know about Sitchin's translation of the cuneiform tablets of our first civilization, the Sumerians. And we had Sasha Lesson years ago on breaking the God spell, the impact of these Anunnaki gods on the soap opera of humanity today. And a lot of us want to believe Sitchin because he presents in his Earth Chronicle series such a clean history that fills all the gaps. And maybe it's the filling in of the gaps and how clean his theory is that is the problem. Because as other ancient history celebrities like Graham Hancock and others kind of show, it's okay not to fill the gaps and just to keep exploring and digging. And and we've had also the topic of Armageddon, and I forget the guy's name who presented years ago. We should all move to the Ozarks to survive Armageddon. And then we've had the Arlington Institute founder on here about EMP attacks and other existential type of topics. We love to get into it. Not that we believe in any of it. Maybe we do. But the cure for bad information is not censorship; it's more information. And the fact is, the heliocentric theory does have some gaps in questions. For example, the ones that I put from Dave's website on our alert. What about these amateur balloons that go up to 100,000 feet and using cameras without fisheye lenses, you see a flat Earth? What about the connections of these long-term flights around the Earth that go to weird places that you wouldn't think it would go on around Earth? Et cetera. I'll let Dave go through the usual questions, and then we'll open up the Q&A, and we'll have a fun discussion. I hope folks don't get upset. Just run with it and have fun. And with that, Dave, take it away.
Hey, thanks for having me. And I do hope some global believers are here today, which I will assume there are, although they're a dying breed. The flat Earth is such a triggering thing because we were all trained that the Earth was flat before we could talk. I mean, the Earth was a globe before we could talk. right? Our kid, we have mobiles over our cribs, spaceship sheets, and Sesame Street has astronauts on there, and globes in the front of our classroom. And one of the first worksheets we bring home is the orbits of the sun, moon, and Earth and planets. And this is early indoctrination. And then every movie, every TV show, everything, it's all globe programming. Why? Why the lie? Why would they lie? What difference does it make? Shape of the earth doesn't matter. I still have to go to work on Monday. These are all things that we've been programmed to say. I said them. I said all of them, right? But then when you have the courage to look and actually use your God-given common sense that has been completely replaced with nonsense from people in bow ties and lab coats, and teachers that aren't liars, they're just reading Rockefeller-funded textbooks that are pushing the mainstream narrative for a reason. And we'll get into that reason at the end. How much time do we have today? How much time? 1 hour.
We'll go to 1 o'clock.
1 hour. 1 hour. Okay, you're not going to learn everything today, but I'm going to tell you where to go to get the information. And here's the thing. Belief is the enemy of knowing. I told you guys I live in Connecticut, okay? So do you believe it or do you know it, all right? You probably believe it. I look honest. Why would I lie? You weigh all these factors, but you don't know it. You believe it. Now you can spend a half a day going online, find me on Facebook, find my friends, find my high school. Yeah, he lives in Connecticut. Okay, now you know it. Right. But belief is easier than knowing. Believe, and then you go take a nap. Or if you want to know something, you got to do time and effort. And, most people aren't up for that. They, my one of my co-host friends, Jaronism from the Jaronism channel, always says, if you want to become rich, invent something that makes people lazier. Because, that people love that, people, lazy. Fast food, besides being stupid, fast food, you don't have to shop, you don't have to cook, you just go and get your fast food. Well, what's lazier than that? DoorDash. You don't even have to get off your couch to get your fast food, right? It'll be delivered to you, right? DoorDash is a multi-billion-dollar company, right? So don't get triggered. Come up with your best glow proof. I guarantee that you won't have one. You think you have one because I thought I had a whole bunch. I thought there was no proof of flat earth and there's only glow proofs. But then when I examined them and they all got taken away from me, I threw my hands up and I said, well, why? Why would they lie? What difference does it make? They can't even keep BJ in the White House a secret. Okay. How could they keep a secret like this? And that's where you go. And once you're there, literally, you've just unplugged yourself from the matrix when you see the reason for this deception. This is a balloon at 127,000 feet. The Earth is allegedly spinning 1,000 miles an hour below me. 1,000 miles an hour. The sun, which is leaving a hot spot right here, this area, is 93 million miles away, if you believe mainstream. Okay? Now, if I asked you, any globe believers out here, how far is the sun? How big is the sun? How fast is the Earth orbiting? How fast is it spinning? You would probably know none of them because I knew none of them, right? But you'll still defend the globe when you know nothing about the globe. And we tell people if globe believers knew a fraction of what we knew about the globe model, they would be flat earthers because the globe model is absolutely, unbelievably, and scientifically provably impossible and stupid. Okay, it really is, but we've been so indoctrinated that we're unwilling to let it go. Right now, if you want to, if you Google flat Earth, and remind you, Google is going to feed you what you want to see. Netflix is going to feed you what they want to see. I'm sorry, said that backwards. You go on Discovery Channel, National Geographic. You got Graham Hancock on there. Love Graham, but he's not a deceiver. He's a little lost in many of the conclusions that he makes. They're foregone conclusions. If you Google flat Earth, this is what you get. No flat earther thinks this, but globe believers that know nothing about their globe think that this is what flat Earth believers think. This is from the Flat Earth Society, which Obama plugged a half a dozen times during his presidency. John Kerry plugged it. They're all talking about it, right? Trudeau, they're all talking about flat Earth because they're trying to control the narrative. They want you to go to the Flat Earth Society and see this. And all flat earthers believe that the Earth's rising at 9.8 meters per second. And that's how they have gravity. That's ridiculous. Okay. And that would make you turn away and laugh at anybody that says the Earth is flat. By the way, I'm offering 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof at the end of this. Anyone that can come up with a globe proof, send me your Bitcoin address. I'll send you 3 Bitcoins. That's about $75,000, whatever it's at. Okay. 3 Bitcoins. So no flat earther thinks that we're a disk and all the other planets are round. But wait a minute, all the other planets are round. Okay. No, they're not. Right. And even if they were, like the lights in my ceiling are round, but my floor is flat. Explain that. Makes no sense. Okay. The lights in the sky appear to be spherical. We'll get into that. It's the way our vision works. Everything goes to a point. Okay. And that point turns things into spheres. And I'll show you that. Okay. When mainstream's talking about flat earth, they're always making fun of it, showing you this because this is ridiculous. Okay. So, I'll just throw the numbers out there. The earth is spinning at the equator 1,000 miles an hour. That's almost twice the speed of sound. So when you're watching the sunset on a calm day and the sun's just going away as your mind perceives it, your indoctrination tells you that it's because the earth is spinning. You're actually falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, which is making the sun magically appear to go down. But it's you that's falling backwards with air stuck to the earth adjacent to a zero pressure, negative pressure vacuum, which is scientifically impossible. Okay. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a vacuum, right? So, you can't have high pressure next to a vacuum without a barrier. I'm saying things all over the place. All right. So the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That's nothing. Right. And you don't notice the spin because you're already going that speed. When I'm on an airplane, I could drink a glass of water and go to the bathroom. This is what everyone says. I said it. Right. But if you want to compare an airplane to just the spin of the earth, which is the slowest motion, you have to remove the outside shell of the airplane because there's no outside shell over the air. You have to double the speed of the airplane because the airplane's only going 500 miles an hour. So you're going to make 1,000 miles an hour, and you have to nose down at a mile per minute. It's like as fast as the skydiver falling without a parachute. Okay. And then tell me how your glass of water is doing and how your trip to the bathroom's going. Okay. We're orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, a funny number that shows up in the heliocentric system all the time. 666 everywhere. Okay. It's ridiculous. And then we're chasing the sun at over almost 500,000 miles per hour. Okay. Some people say 420,000 miles per hour. Some people say 600,000 miles per hour. Some people say 500,000 miles per hour. They're all wrong. They're all lies. But that's what you have to believe if you believe you're in a heliocentric system. That we're traveling 4.4 billion miles a year. 4.4 billion. You don't have no idea how big that number is. Never to return to where we were before. And somehow, if you go out tonight and take a picture of the stars, then go out next year, same night, same time, same spot, and take a picture, every single star will be in the exact same place. Think about that. That makes no sense whatsoever. Let's just talk about the speeds of this for a second. This is the hypersonic sled track. Google it on YouTube. Hypersonic sled track. This video will come up. It'll go by. You'll hear the sound. You hear the shockwave. Every cell in your body will be like, whoa, what the heck was that? Mach 8.6. That's 8.6 times the speed of sound. 8.6. Now, that's hard to fathom. That speed is hard to fathom because your brain is not really capable of fathoming it. Imagine it twice as fast. What? You can't fathom it this speed. Twice as fast. Well, if you believe in the heliocentric system, you believe that you are orbiting the sun 10 times faster than this, and you're chasing the sun 100 times faster. But when you go out into nature on a calm morning, you see things like this. This is a flat lake. Water's not sloshing. Right? Well, you're already going that speed. Yeah, none of those speeds are straight lines. If you're in a car going 100 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, it doesn't matter. Perfectly straight road, perfect car, everything, cruise control, 100 miles an hour, and you fill a dinner plate with water to the edge. And that car speeds up, slows down, or takes the slightest turn. What happens to that water? Does this happen to that water? Okay. We're going ridiculous, incomprehensible speeds in 4 different directions at once. And we have situations like this. Large bodies of water at rest lie flat, and they need containment. Containment is the land that is higher than the water. Lower the land, the water will flow away, right? The earth is 70% water. The surface of water is flat. Do the math. Where's the curvature? How many flat lakes in a row do you need to make a sphere? Now, they tell us Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of a ball. Okay. Guess what? Antarctica, you're not allowed to go there. Wait a minute. There's 100 different companies I can go there. I could spend $10,000 to $70,000, go for 3 days. They won't show me anything other than penguins and some ice. Then they'll kick me out. Okay. But I can go. Well, all 100 of those companies are run by the Antarctic Commission, controlled by one guy. Why does one guy have 100 shell companies controlling everybody that goes to Antarctica, right? Google Antarctica from space and you get cartoons. Why don't we have pictures from high altitude? Because space is not real. We'll get into that. How come they're all cartoons, right? And I'm going to show you how Antarctica is off limits physically and off limits virtually, right? So if the Earth isn't, if it's not a continent at the bottom of a ball, what is it? Think of a lake, a pond, a lake. It's a body of water surrounded by land that's higher than the water, and it contains it. You need a container. If you have a bathtub of water and get rid of the tub, the water's gone. You have a pond, get rid of the edge of the pond, the water's gone. You have the world pond. All the oceans are a giant pond, a giant lake. You have to have containment. Well, guess what the highest land on Earth is? Anybody? It's Antarctica. Antarctica has the highest plateau on Earth. They don't rub that in. They don't teach you that in school because you might be like, oh, that's interesting. Wait, flat Earth, Antarctica, containing all of our water, right? Captain Cook tried to sail around Antarctica, which is 13,000 miles around. If it's a continent at the bottom of a ball, it took him 3.5 years and went over 68,000 miles. Wait a minute. That sounds like he went all the way around the edge of a flat Earth, 68,000 miles. The equator is only 24,900 miles, 68,000 miles. Do the math. Think about it. Okay. And he's not the only one. Other people too have also, right? People say, well, what do you believe in an ice wall? No, I believe in the shoreline of Antarctica. It's higher than the water. Here's the shoreline of Antarctica. There probably are areas of Antarctica where there's a gradual rise, like a beach, and it rises up, but it gets high quickly. That Antarctica has the highest mountains on Earth, higher than Everest. Didn't learn that in school, did you? Okay. Some people think that those mountains in the distance, in the outer space, they actually connect to the dome. Flat earthers, some think that. They might be right. I don't know. I can't go there, right? We want the right to explore beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. We want the right to explore this world freely. We want the right to just go in the frigging Grand Canyon and look at all the Egyptian stuff down there. There's caves, not caves. There's literally underground dwellings filled with Egyptian artifacts in the Grand Canyon that wipes out the entire geology of, the Colorado River, carving out the canyon. It's all nonsense. It's absolutely total nonsense. So what is the flat Earth? Well, this is the best map that we have. It's the Gleason's map. It's used for navigation. It works out with actual observations of day and night. There's all sorts of things. And it was in every library and school and everywhere up to the 1950s. Okay. When they finally took it away and hid it. And most people that, defend the globe hasn't even heard of it. Okay. So let me just go one more thing and then we'll see how we're doing on time. Antarctica. Where's my Antarctica button?
You got plenty of time, Dave.
Yeah. Well, we don't have nearly enough time, but it's okay. If you gave me 8 hours, I would have the same complaint. We don't have enough time. All right. So this is, where is it? Okay. This is a interesting map of Antarctica. All of these mountains are Dome A, Dome B, Dome C. Why are they calling them dome? It's just weird. Some people say, well, the mountains are called domes. Okay. All right. Whatever you want. That's fine. So before I talked about Antarctica is virtually, it is physically, you're not allowed to explore it, and virtually. So everyone could do this at home. Go on your Google Earth web version, not because they fixed the main one, and you can measure any continent. Take out the measuring tool, measure any area, measure ocean, measure continent. It gives you the area. But when you try to measure Antarctica, watch what happens, right? All of a sudden, it inverts. And it's not measuring Antarctica at all. Kind of like they turned the whole thing inside out, right? And so you can't measure Antarctica on Google Earth. And then if we try it again in the north, at the North Pole, try that real quick. We'll go up to the North Pole. and we'll measure. Funny that this is the only two places on Earth that this happens with the measuring tool. Look, it won't measure it, right? Well, let's try measure. We're going to measure Greenland, right? We'll just measure Greenland. That's pretty close to North Pole. Maybe it should do the same thing, but it doesn't. It measures it perfectly, no problem, right? Why is it virtually and physically off limits? The answer is because if we were allowed to go there, we would find out we don't live on a globe. When you find out you don't live on a globe, all governments fail. All governments are gone. They're finished. All universities close. Everything. The world will go through a true unveiling or apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, right? So, there's so many things to go into. I don't know where to start, but let me try one more thing. Where is it? I go to maps. How do they hide the Earth? How do they hide the Earth from us? And it's pretty easy, right? If you had a wild animal, mountain lion, as a pet, and you put him in a quarter acre with a fence, he's just going to pace that fence all day long. You put him in 50 miles, maybe. He still might look at the fence. Put him in 500-mile safari park. Going to see the fence, going to turn around, he's going to go right back and have a good day. Put a human in there in that fence, make it 50,000 miles around. Human sees that fence, what does he say? I got to see what's on the other side of that fence, right? So how do you hide the fence? Okay. And this is how they hide it. Here's a map of the world. What if we just cut out America, a little Canada, some of South America, right? Mexico. And then we got rid of the rest of the map and we wrapped it around a sphere. And we told everybody that lives in that area, this is all there is. There's nothing else. And you're not allowed to look at this white dot. You're not allowed to go there. Maybe we'll let you go right to the edge. Okay. Maybe we'll let you go there. Okay. But this is the whole world. This is all there is. You would have no idea that Europe existed. You have no idea that Africa existed, right? How would you know? How would you know? Now, what if the world was set up this extended plane and we lived it? Now, again, this is speculation. I'm not saying any of this is true. It's scientifically possible, but the globe is ridiculous. What if we lived in a pond? And here's an example. You're in Kansas and you got a pond 500 miles around, a lake. It's got islands in it. And at the center of the lake is a mountain and it's magnetic. So you're on the pond on your boat and your compass will point to the center of that lake. You try to go west, you're going to circle right around the center of the lake and you're going to come right back to where you started from while traveling west or east. North will take you to the center of the lake. South is every direction away from the center of the lake, right? If you're back to the center, which your north will be pointing to it, south will take you to the edge of the lake. When you get to the edge of the lake, you don't fall off into space. You step up onto the land, Kansas, and you walk a couple of miles. You can't even see the lake anymore. Okay, this is a smaller scale. Then what happens if you come up to another lake? What's that? Maybe it's another lake, another world. So take that one step further. This is oops, here it comes. This is an interesting map. Right here are all of these pieces of the plane, lakes. We'll call them planets. Okay, we live right here in the center of this one. Right here we go. America, Africa, Australia. We cut it out. We wrap it around a sphere, and they say you're not allowed to explore south. You're not. There's a treaty until 1941. You can't even question that treaty. This becomes a prison for your mind. You literally have cut off your mind, your connection to source, to everything. You're in a prison, and you can't even fathom that there's more out there. And once you understand that you're not a random speck flying through an infinite universe, that an asteroid isn't going to take us out at any moment, right? Asteroids, ridiculous. Okay. That we're running out of fuel. There's free energy everywhere, right? We're running out of land. Untrue. Every family could have a half an acre in Australia and half of Australia would be empty. Okay. Right. This world is empty. They're lying about the population. And even if it was the number that they say, it's not nearly overpopulated. They're hitting us up with man-made global warming nonsense, absolute and total nonsense. The controllers of this world hate the creator and want you as a sick slave. They need your energy. They can't just kill you because you have free will. And nobody has control over you other than in your imagination. Anything. That's it. right? And once you understand and you unplug from the heliocentric matrix, you free your mind and you disconnect from these people. And life is amazing. This world is amazing. You know, I used to love Netflix. I used to love watching movies. Now the world is way too interesting to watch nonsense like that. Okay. Sometimes, though, I will watch these movies to decode them because there's so much truth hidden in these movies. You know, like in my mind, you know, if this pond theory is true, Star Wars is literally here on Earth. It's just traveling in between all those lands, and there's all sorts of stuff. One more thing, I will show you, and then we'll kick it back. This is something that happened, and anyone that's been following me knows this already, but I'm going to do it anyway for those of you that don't. So this is a map that was discovered in a Buddhist temple, and it was published in a Hawaiian newspaper in 1910. It's like 10 centuries old. It showed all these continents out here. You know, you got South America, America, right? Here's our world, and here are these other continents. All right. And so keep that in mind. Then some people were doing researching on shipping routes, because shipping routes absolutely prove the Earth is flat. We can get into that. And this tracks all the cargo ships, but they found a ship here, like 300-400 miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. How did it get there? Right? When you click on these ships, it gives you all the information about them. We clicked on it. The only information it gave you is the size, 580 meters long. That is a massive ship. Okay. And it's in an impossible spot. How did it get here? Right. And it says it's registered to the nation of Kiribati. You've never heard of Kiribati. Where is it? Out here in the middle of nowhere. It's a tiny sandbar. I put a pin on it. There it is. Okay. We zoom in. Here's Kiribati. Okay. Right. US, China, and many other countries are saying Kiribati is a very, very important trade route. Why the heck do we need to stop here in Kiribati? What are they picking up? Pineapple, sand? You know, like why is this little atoll an important trade route, right? And a funny thing about Kiribati, when some of our, you know, hive mind has been snooping around, they have a Captain Cook hotel. Captain Cook's the guy that tried to circumnavigate Antarctica. Okay. Went all the way around 68,000 miles. Now they got a ship that's hundreds of miles inside of Antarctica in an impossible place. Okay. Right. Also, Kiribati has a history of nuclear testing, which is when you look at the stuff that's happening there, baloney. It's nonsense. And just a side note, nuclear bombs don't exist. Oh my God, Dave, you've gone too far. I can prove it. Okay. It's all about fear. It's all about fear. Right. And so what's the deal with Kiribati? And the answer is, we go back here. What if it is an important trade route from here, Kiribati, to the outer lands, right? Extra land, territory, extra terra. What would you call somebody, a civilization out here? I'd call them extraterrestrials. Maybe we're trading computer chips, weapons, tuna fish, children. I don't know. Okay. We want to know though. Okay. And what if there's tons of these going out to all these other lands, right? There's a book called The Iron Republic. I encourage people to get it. It's on my app. We'll talk about that in a moment. And it's about a politician in the 1800s that got sick and tired of politics. Good for him. And he bought a ship, sold everything, bought a ship, went to Antarctica, and ended up going through an opening. Then they were lost at sea, and he found land, and it ended up being, there was a city there, an advanced civilization, flat screens, all this stuff, right? Stayed there for 10 years, he even got married there, and then his wife died. Whole story, amazing. But maybe he just went through here and ended up over here. And the story was these people used to live in here, but in the 1600s, there was tyranny going on. Could you imagine that tyranny? And they picked up and left. Their whole civilization picked up and left and went out away from the rule of tyranny in here. Well, they wouldn't want that now. Imagine if everyone knew that there was freedom out here. That would be a problem, political problem. Okay. If they can make you insignificant, if they can hide the creator, if they can hide free energy, if they can hide abundance of food, energy, everything, health, wealth. Imagine if you didn't have to pay for fuel or heat or anything, any energy cost. So your car will just go forever. You got a little thing the size of a roll of quarters that powers your car for 100 years, heats your house, cools your house, right? You could have an icicle party in the summer in California, right? In your house, you could just turn the air conditioning down so low because it won't matter, right? If you had all of that freedom, would you need to work so hard? What if you can just grow your food in your yard? Oh, wait a minute. You can grow your food in your yard. People don't even know that, okay? The reason there's a water shortage in California is because they won't let you drill down to primary water. Most of you have never heard of primary water, okay? Gaddafi found primary water. That's why they killed him, right? Gaddafi did the most amazing aquifer project in the history, our known history, because all of our history is a lie. It took him 40 years. He was pumping fresh water all across the deserts of Africa. And when he was done, and giving any family that wanted to start a farm, gave them all of the things, animals, seeds, tractors, and access to water. And organic farms were popping up all across Africa. It took him 40 years. And when he was done, the UN went in and blew it up with depleted uranium bombs. Okay. The biggest crime in history. You never heard of it. The Great Man-Made River. On my channel, DITRH. I have lots of short videos there, but go to my channel, search my channel, and search the Great Man-Made River or Muammar Gaddafi, DITRH. And watch that. You'll cry. You'll cry. All my videos are like 5 minutes, so don't worry about long videos. So if you Google Flat Earth, you will give up. And you will be like, Flat Earth is stupid. Flat Earth Dave is an idiot, right? Because they're going to feed you nonsense for weak minds. But if you have a discerning mind and you have a will, you have a desire for truth, you'll see it, right? Some people, are don't like listening, don't like learning, and just like insisting, right? As I said before, I offer 3 Bitcoins, and I'll wrap it up with this. This is my app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You can find it at flatearthdave.com. It bypasses their algorithms. But every day, there's a featured video right here. Click it. Bam, there's your video. And all I say is watch the featured video each day for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you have one thing that you can prove the earth is flat, send it to me and you win 3 Bitcoins. But before you do, you have to hit the question mark button and up come the frequently asked questions. What about ships over the horizon? What about, why would they lie? What about Southern flights, right? All of the stuff is answered right in there. Every question you have is answered in here. Tons of other resources on here. And there's a thing called the Friend Finder. If you're already a flat earther, it's always nice to meet people in person or at least online at first. And it'll show you all of the other flat earthers around you. Mine's loading right now. Give it a second. And these are all the other flat earthers that are near me. Amazing. And I could reach them. I could send out group messages. We sent out a 50-kilometer message and said, we're having a meetup at Rico's Pizza, and 75 people showed up. It was amazing. So that's that. It's up to you. Anyone listening, hearing Flat Earth for the first time, this is your red pill moment. Don't be like Cypher and try to go back in the Matrix. It never works out because it'll eat you alive if you don't address reality.
Thank you, Dave. That was a very enlightening talk. Actually, I'm not a disbeliever. I'll jump in, then I'll come to you, Charlie. I'm not a disbeliever. It's clear. I mean, I've known for 20 years, I went down the rabbit hole, and it's clear, especially now, so much more information is coming up. Everything is practically, but let's say go before the earth is round or flat, but pretty much everything else is a lie. It seems to be our history, our education, where everything came, where we came from. And both Charlie and I were Sitchin fans, or we were involved with the extraterrestrial theories of life and so on, other stuff in there. And I will say one of my favorite movies is Dark City. I don't know if you know Dark City? You know that movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not many people do. It's actually a pretty cool movie. But the Antarctica, I mean, there's a lot going on down there, and we hear about, but my understanding also is having to do with ETs, whether you take a ship somewhere, but there's buried technology, there's other civilizations. Yes, you can jump in. And what about the tourists? Like, actually, let me just jump back. All of us create our worlds to some extent. There is collective consciousness, but if you have a lot of, huh?
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So I might even say, I'll just venture to say, if you've got thousands of people that have going along and saying, yeah, the earth is flat, then you can be creating that in a sense. And you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on. I know I don't think it's completely a globe. I don't know if it's completely flat, but I don't know if it even matters, but definitely there's stuff going on.
All right, so let me address.
The top and bottom. Yeah.
Let me just address a couple of things. You don't know if it's completely flat. You don't know what's going on, and that's because you haven't gotten there yet. All the information's there for you to absolutely know. Here's what I absolutely know: it's not a globe flying through space. That's all you need to know. Okay, that this physical reality that we're experiencing is level and horizontal and not moving. That's provable, scientifically provable. There is no curvature. There is no vacuum of space. The stars are distance, impossible distances. You mentioned ETs, extraterrestrials, more land, extraterra. Okay, more land. It's not saying more planets, not saying outer space, extraterrestrials. They come from here on Earth. Scientifically possible. They could come. Like an ET could leave his home in the morning, come here, abduct Charles, right? Probe him and make it back in time for dinner with his kids, okay? In the same day, right? That's how it works. But if you look at, believing that stars are the distances they tell us, which is scientifically provably impossible, we couldn't see them. We can get into that if you want. But the closest star is 25 trillion miles away, 4.5 light years, 25 trillion miles away. Okay, let's say we can go a mile per second and we went for 1 trillion seconds. Okay, we're now 1/25th of the way there. We got to do it 24 more times. Okay,
well,
Jim, do you know how long 1 trillion seconds is?
How much what?
How long in time is 1 trillion seconds? If you guess it within a week, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
Thanks.
Just take a guess.
No, that's.
Wait, but here's my point. My point is 25 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. Okay. So that's just giving you an idea of the distance. If we're going 100,000 miles an hour, which is unfathomable, it would take 28,000 years to get there. All of the other stars are magnitudes farther. So to believe that extraterrestrials can come from outer space, you have to make up stuff like, oh, they're folding space. They're going through portals where they're showing here. And then they land in Antarctica, the most unhospitable place on Earth, to hide from the humans. Or is it possible that let me cut you on the other side of Antarctica?
I got you. So I've been in this field because as a producer, I've been filming and seeing craft with my eyes. I talk to people that have been in space who actually do say the Earth appears to be round, but that doesn't mean anything. We can, there's optical illusions. But I understand my physics background, and I started as a physics major, was that you can not fold space, but there are wormholes. There are ways to get other places. Now, that doesn't mean there's not a globe or a dome here, but I will take issue with that because, again, I've been in this for 20 years. In that area, I produced a documentary for Congress on the Roswell saucer crash 20 years ago plus. So I just kind of track that. But anyway, let's go along to Charles. Let's open up the floor a little bit.
I just want to ask you one quick question, Jim. The Roswell crash, seems legit to me. Is it more probable that they just came from south of Antarctica, or they came from trillions of miles away and then crashed here on Earth?
We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know. Okay, Charles.
Good. Charles.
Thanks, Dave. Fantastic. Just provoking for sure. Can you go through the South American flights? You showed the map of the shipping, which is provocative. It makes you think. What about the map of the flights? Why are we transitioning at weird places to fly across the world from South America to Australia? I think that's
yeah.
And so, the fact that there's a two-part, and then the lack of dipping, the nose dipping.
Right. So the lack of nose dipping, that's a huge problem. A plane flying in an atmosphere above a spinning ball flying through space, it's scientifically impossible. But if you think of the word airplane, air over the plane of the Earth. In the south, in the north, the flight routes are still a little off, but in the south, they're crazy. Okay, this is from Auckland, New Zealand to Lima, Peru. It stops in Los Angeles, right? So they're going from here, they go all the way up to the north and then back down to the south. Why would a southern flight ever need to cross the equator to get to another southern location? There's no two combinations of any two spots in the south that would need to do that, but they all do it, right? In the north, no matter where you pick any two airports, they never cross into the south. That's because any 2 points inside of this circle, which is the equator, you just draw a straight line between them. But to draw a straight line on the south, on a flat Earth, you have to cross, right? So why didn't they just fly here and look at the route? Bam, it's a straight line. Let's look at another one. We'll just whip through a couple of these. Okay, Auckland to Mexico City stops in Los Angeles. Very similar. Goes all the way up and all the way over. Why don't we just fly straight here? Well, they're picking up passengers. They're picking up passengers. That's not true. Okay, and I can prove that. Okay, here's another one. Buenos Aires to New Delhi stops in Amsterdam. Amsterdam's all the way up here. Okay, again, straight line on a flat Earth map. Right. Here's one from Johannesburg to Wellington, New Zealand. Stops in Doha up here. Why didn't it just fly over here? Okay. These are unanswerable, right? Bam, because that's the trip. That's the trip right there, right? This one, look at this. They go all the way from Montevideo to Perth, crossing the equator 2 times, right? Why don't they just cross over Antarctica? Why? Oh, you can't disturb the penguins or the ice. They go way out of their way. Each one of these legs is almost equal to that leg, right? But this is how they go. All right. So let me pull up another one, a couple more, and then we'll go to the emergency landings. Look at this one. Okay. They go all the way up and then all the way back down. This is the route that they took. Okay. Not quite a straight line, but not as bad as that. Right. We'll look at another one. What's going on here? It's not changing. Oh, there we go. So another one. So this is Abu Dhabi to Auckland stops in Tokyo. Again, a straight line on a flat Earth map, a little bit out of the way. Don't know why I didn't just fly straight across. All right, this happens again and again and again. All of these flights are absolutely ridiculous on a globe, right? But then we have people say, well, they have to fly there. It's their hub. They're getting pilots. But then we have what's called emergency landings. For some reason, they're happening all the time now. People just dying suddenly. We don't have to go there because maybe we can put this on YouTube. So let's look at some emergency landings. This one, right? Flying from New York to Hawaii, emergency happened right here, and they flew 1,000 miles out of the way. 1,000 miles, 500 miles an hour would take 2 hours. They got there in 15 minutes. How did that happen? Seattle is right on that flight route. Okay. Right on the flight route. Right. Here's another one. Transition. There we go. This one, they stopped. They went, emergency happened right here. They went all the way up to Moscow, got there in an impossible amount of time. Moscow's right on that flight route. Okay. And 2 more I want to show you. This one happened just last year. New York to New Zealand, right about here. Emergency happened, and they flew all the way over to Fiji. Okay, they flew all over to Fiji. Why did they go over there? Why didn't they just finish the trip? Right. But if you look at it on a flat Earth map, coincidentally, Fiji was right on their flight route. Okay, emergency, Fiji, right there. Fiji's not over here. It's right there. Okay, how many times does that have to happen on a flat Earth? Now, this is the one that happened just last year or this year. Happened recently. This flight was going from Hong Kong. It was going all the way to the UK and ended up stopping in Germany because 4 hours into this 12-hour flight, families traveling together, mom, small children, father, mother dies suddenly. She's dead in her chair. Okay, dead. kid sitting next to her. She's dead, like a blanket over her head. Right, 4 hours into the flight, why didn't they stop at one of probably 50 airports that she could have stopped at? They didn't stop for 8 hours. 8 hours. Think about those kids. Think about the father. Think about the other people on the plane. Okay, why didn't they stop? Well, let's look at it on a flat Earth map. 4 hours into the flight, they're over Russia. Why are we over Russia? That's the first question. And if they landed in Russia, what if Russia was really helpful and they let us help you? Okay, that could spark peace. That would be bad in this climate. We can't have peace sparked, right? And so finally, 8 hours later, kids are permanently damaged. It's ridiculous. Why didn't they just finish their trip? Instead, they stopped in Germany. Okay, this is ridiculous. Right? Anyone that makes an excuse for this is probably one of those people that isn't meant to see the truth and isn't meant to free themselves. Why does flat Earth matter? Because it frees your mind and lets you have the opportunity to live to your full potential.
I like it.
And the nose dipping?
Charlie.
You want to talk about nose dipping for a second? So
you already did, didn't you?
You did. Well, I want to show you something. So airplane, there we go. So this is a flight from is this the one? Hold on. Oh, that's just what you have to believe is going on. All right, here's the one. North. Okay, so this is a flight from Germany down to Brazil, I think. And as they're flying, these stars here should rotate over your head, right? So what I mean by that is, here's an airplane, and it's sitting on the runway, and it sees a star right here, and my finger is a star. So that star is on the horizon. So that star, when that plane flies down to the equator, that star is now over their head. Here's the top of the plane, okay? So the stars should rise. So this pilot did a time lapse, and the stars are just doing their rotation east to west. This is Google Earth. This is what Google Earth, a flight simulator, says it would look like. These stars would rise as you're diving over the ball. They would appear to rise. This is what a simulation says. But then reality, when filmed, doesn't follow that. Now, there's people that say, well, Google Earth says it. I'm going to believe it. I can't help those people. So there you go.
Okay, Linda, you're next. You there, Linda? Okay, we'll come back to you. Sharon. You must have knocked everybody out, Dave.
No, you have to ask to unmute over their profile.
This because you changed it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought normally you would anyway, I think, but if you see you're muted.
Do you see where to hover over them and ask to unmute?
I did that. I'm asking.
You can unmute them.
Well, let me see if I can.
While you're doing that, Sharon says how some come from other dimensions. Sure.
Okay, now I am unmuted. I have a question for you because I'm taking seriously what you are saying. Those people with the telescopes, like the new one, the James Webb, how they cannot search more what you are saying?
So it's a whole hour show by itself, but the James Webb Telescope isn't real. It's scientifically impossible. The videos they show of it being launched are absolutely comical. This is me with a free app called Carvana, and I create better pictures than James Webb. Okay. So they're showing you actual CGI. And when you zoom into this picture, there's a very interesting constellation that NASA never showed you. And I call it FED. Okay. I call it Flat Earth Dave. It's me right there. You didn't even see it. Okay. Right. So this is how easy it is to fake. It's better than theirs. Right. And then if you look at the whole thing, James Webb, they put it into orbit and they showed the round Earth below it. Okay, cool. We can see the whole round Earth. We get it. Earth is a globe, right? Then they deploy it deploys from the rocket. So it's still there, but now it deployed from the rocket already. Well, now it has to travel 1 million miles and park itself in a Lagrange point. What's a Lagrange point? It's a spot between the sun, allegedly, and the Earth, closer to the Earth, where the gravity is equal, right? Farther enough away, and it just holds itself there. While we're corkscrewing through space, this thing is staying there, right? This thing, right? This thing's now it's already launched. Now it's got to travel 1 million miles away. This is for the unthinking, undiscerning person that has zero common sense, right? Look, and it's losing its signal already, right? It's always glitching in and out. It's got to go 1 million miles away and send back high-res photos. It's a joke. It's a complete and total joke.
Thank you, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Sharon.
And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh,
Sharon.
well, I'll have to talk to my niece. She works at Northrop Grumman, and she's in charge of all the scientists that work on the James Webb Telescope. So we'll have to tell her her whole $100,000 a year job is a joke.
Well, hold on. Let me address that for just a split second. NASA is a jobs program. It employs millions and millions and millions of people. They need us to have jobs. And now, not everything that these people do is worthless. They are doing stuff like people that make satellites. Those are real, but they're going up on balloons. That's it, right? There's no satellites in space. And most of the people at NASA have no idea. Most of the people at SpaceX have no idea that it's very compartmentalized. So they don't know. We did an interview with the guy that's in charge of the James Webb Telescope. Not the James Webb, the Hubble Telescope. Interview with him. And we got him to admit that he's never seen a live feed from the telescope, right? We got him to admit that the photos that they showed us from Hubble were from Sophia. Sophia is a telescope mounted in the side of a 747 with a big opening door that takes some very interesting high altitude photos. But he got him to admit that that's where they're from. Okay. So unfortunately, there's a lot of deception, and a lot of people are not going to want to face it because their whole life gets shaken up.
Well, my actual questions originally were, who are they that are doing this, and why?
Why the lie? It's the best question of all. On my app, there's a why the lie section. I can explain it a lot better than I can. But who are they? They are the controllers of this world. Those are, the people that we would say are the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, all of these royal families, but they're just the puppets of the real they. That's why John Kerry on election day went to Antarctica on election day. What's going on there? There's all these world leaders. They all go to Antarctica. They disappear for 3 days from South Pole Station. Then they show up back there, and then they fly back. What are they doing down there? Are they getting their marching orders? Are they, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. So, you're right. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think there's probably bases there that have secret things happening on Antarctica, but
Sharon,
are they supernatural beings that can do this type of work? I mean,
probably.
It's a pretty big...
I'm not negating supernatural abilities and stuff, but it doesn't take that. It just takes people that know how this world works, knows how spells work. They're constantly, pre-programming us with stuff, like satellites. Arthur C. Clarke, a science fiction writer, and thought of satellites. Then a year later, satellites were real. Okay, that's pre-programming. Okay, right? Satellites make absolutely no sense. So once you understand, that they're controlling us, or they put our mind in a prison, they get us to feel hopeless and helpless and sick, and we give away our power. It's literally all about control. It's all about control. I encourage you, get my app. The app is $3, okay? And then hit the why the lie section. That is worth it right there. Just watch those videos. Turn off Netflix for a week and just watch those videos. Your mind will be blown. I was in a new movie just came out called Level With Me, levelwithmefilm.com. You can also find it it's on my app under the FE movie section. Watch it. You'll learn about how the Challenger explosion, nobody died.
Yeah, apparently, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
cool.
It's a lot to take in. It's heartbreaking for people in that industry. But we have so many people that have woken up. I just featured on the app 2 days ago a whistleblower from NASA that blew the whistle, saying, how it's all done there. We have astronauts that have come out and said the Earth is flat. No one's been to space, right? A Russian astronaut, a Polish astronaut. Okay. They die quickly after that, but they have come out and said it, right? Buzz Aldrin said it on Conan, you watched animation. You never saw me land on the moon, right? It's all there. And when you start looking at this stuff, you can't unsee it.
Charles, we coming up on the hour. Last question.
Yeah, Dave's right. This conversation easily could go on for a long time.
Yes.
And I guess that explains why it is one of the most censored controversies of all. What about Sitchin? Did you ever go through a Sitchin phase with the ancient astronaut theory? And before you answer, because it is such a great read, and a pretty cool story. I mean, are the Anunnaki kind of those fallen Nephilim from God who came in here and kind of got their puppets for those royal families to do this? Is that kind of what might be the truth? And then the final part of my question is, you said this kind of restores your faith in God and a higher purpose. Having seen enough of these videos, I think, there is that aspect of our relationship on this plane with the Creator. So Sitchin to the Nephilim is being part of this, and then the relationship with the Creator.
So I'm not claiming to know much about that, but if you take all of those stories and just put them on other planets, pieces of the plane, they all could be true. The Anunnaki could still be living here on Earth on their own pond, their own planet. Like a piece of the plane is called a planet. Weird how that works. Okay. They could be out there. There's a book on the app in the book section. You'll love this one, Charles. Called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall, right? And that has that pond map I had. It's a great, amazing story. Short read. It's big type, small book. It's amazing. It's just literally about somebody who traveled between these places. Now, am I claiming this is real? I don't know. It kind of rings real to me, right? But it's something that's scientifically possible. A great book there. And again, before I also mentioned the Iron Republic. You can find that on here. That's going right here, Iron Republic. Charles, question for you. Have you ever looked into the teachings, the channeling of Ra?
Not really. I mean, I teach Kundalini yoga, but
right. So
Ra is one of those gods under Sitchin.
Well, Ra is a channel, an entity that channeled back here. If you believe that, that wanted to give information through this one source. And in the homeschool section, if you click the home button, there's all sorts of amazing stuff in here. But I have this. This guy broke down the book. The book is really tough to read because Ra speaks in with different words for things. This guy breaks it down in these short videos. Highly recommend. Amazing. Check that out. And then also in the homeschool section, there's real high level stuff in here. One of my favorites is Schooling Globers, Austin Whitsitt. The latest episode, number 12, is unbelievable death blow to the globe belief. Again, tons of information in here, different languages, different things. There's all sorts of debunking the debunkers. But getting back to the history, there's a Instagram guy, excuse me, called write this down, all one word. I am the improbable dreamer. I'm the improbable dreamer. All one word. Just sit down one afternoon and flick through his little short videos there. If you go through 20 videos, your entire life is destroyed. I mean, everything that you thought you knew is gone and you have to retool. Okay. And he's not making claims why it happened, when it happened, who did it. He's going, look at this. Look, make up your own mind. Look. Okay. So, just touching on history, I don't believe in the Wild West. I don't believe anything. I believe all of these towns and cities that were founded, they were found. They were already here. and we moved into them, right? The Bronx in New York when I was a kid was a war zone. What happened? Where did that come from? Right? There's unbelievable parallels that are unreal. And if you look at all of these world's fairs, the world's fairs will blow you away. On the homeschool section, if you click the John Levy button, watch those videos again. Your mind is about to be shown something that they put blinders on you. What's the one thing? I think you guys are on the same page. Government's not here to help us, right? They might be considered our enemy. Okay. Well, when they say don't look at flat Earth, when you Google flat Earth, Google Dave Weiss, Google DITRH, Google flat Earth sunsets, flat Earth proofs, and you get the same results every time, which is all propaganda. Maybe you want to look. Okay. Right. What happens during a solar eclipse? Government gives you out free glasses. Don't look. Blind yourself. Don't look at the eclipse. Okay. I've looked at eclipses. I've stared at them. I've examined them. And when I was done, my eyesight was better. Okay. I'm not telling people to stare at the sun because you can hurt your eyes staring at the sun. But if you practice sun gazing, which is super healthy, and your eyes are strong, you can look at an eclipse and it is mind blowing what you see. On the frequently asked questions, hit the eclipses button, go through 5 or 10 or 20 of those videos. Your mind is going to be blown. Well, eclipses prove the globe. Eclipses disprove the globe. Eclipses prove flat Earth.
Can you end with a quick visual of the sun moon twirling around our local plane? Because I think as folks walk around today and tomorrow and the rest of their lives, just look at the sun and the moon.
So I'll explain. Yeah, I'll explain the sun. So the center is the North Pole. The center of the clock is the North Pole. That inner yellow line, which the sun is almost near, that's the Tropic of Cancer. That's when us in the inner north have our summer because the sun is close to us. Australia is having its winter because the sun is far away. 6 months later, the sun moves out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and it goes right over Australia. It's pretty hot in Australia in December. Okay, are we in December? November, December. In December, it's way out there. Oh, somebody just joined the friend finder. So I'm in Connecticut. The sun is far away from me. See, I'm all the way up there. The sun's all the way down here. So it never gets high in the sky because it's far away, like a streetlight far away. Streetlight over my head is over my head. It's high, but the one down the street is low. That's my winter sun. Okay. It's winter, but 6 months later, the sun moves all the way back. It's hot in Miami. It's hot in Mexico, right? It's hot in the tropics because the sun travels over the tropics twice a year. It only comes towards the north and away. So we get I get our summer, when the sun is near us, where, June 21st is the closest it gets, and then it starts moving away. Okay.
And the stars rotate around that North Pole with a 2,000 year, precession of the constellations.
Well, the whole precession that the globe tells you is untrue, but there is a precession. But it's perfectly explainable on a flat Earth. The sun goes around once a day, right? Let me turn that off, go a little faster. So the sun is chasing the moon and it's going to catch the moon. It takes 28 laps to catch the moon, right? The sun will get closer and closer. The moon will change its phase and its position. So the sun keeps track of the hours in the day. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. And the moon keeps track of the week and the weeks and the months. There used to be 13 months of 28 days and then one extra day. That's 365, right? And then it lapses the moon every approximately 28 days. Okay, so then if I turn the stars on, the stars are going slightly faster than the sun. So slightly that it takes 365 times around for them to lap the sun. So as they're slowly catching up, the sun will drift backwards through each zodiac for about a month until it reaches back to where it is right now. A year from now, it'll be exactly where it is. And that's how the seasons keep track. The stars keep track of the seasons and the years. And then there's a bigger cycle than that. And that's for a whole nother show.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back. Jim?
Okay. Yeah, that was great. Certainly a lot to think about and explore. Thank you, Dave. So how do you have a website or you just did, but just tell us again to wrap up.
FlatEarthDave.com. FlatEarthDave.com. The only thing you need. If you have a show and you want to, get me on a show or a show, go to FlatEarthDave.com, click Book Dave, send the information there. If you want to get the app is right there. The app's $3 one-time charge. You have it forever. It does all the things I showed you. If you want to message people, you have to pay a subscription, which is $11 a year. $11 a year. That's like one margarita without tipping the bartender. Okay. All right. And there's also a way to get the subscription for free by referring the app to other people. So I make it super easy, super cheap. But you don't have to get the subscription. I would appreciate it if you did. If you think Elon Musk is our hero, he's going to save us, go to my website, scroll down until you see the Elon Musk banner, watch that 5-minute video, and then you will know that he's not our hero. And there's all sorts of stuff on there. There's the crash course on there, right? Looking for something to watch on Netflix? Forget that. Go to the crash course. Go through those videos. Your whole life will change. And they're fun. They're well done. Watch the Level movies. Level, The Next Level, and Level with Me. Those three alone. It's scientifically impossible to watch them and remain a globe believer.